Welcome. My name is Liz Coleman, and I'm one of the enrollment advisors here for our UOnline Master of Science in Education and Sport Administration program. So we are thrilled to have you here this evening. I know many of you are ending your days with us, or if you're on the West Coast, you might be spending a late lunch hour with us. So either way, we are thrilled to have you. We have a fantastic group of panelists here that are able to speak about our sport administration program and just ultimately give you an idea of what you can expect from our program as a student. And so with that being said, I want to introduce our panelists, but first want to cover a few housekeeping things. First off, this session is going to be about an hour. We want to be courteous to your time. So if for any reason you have to leave early, that is not a problem at all. Because you signed up, you are going to be emailed a recording of this session. That should be coming out to you here in the next few days. So be on the lookout for it so that you can catch up on anything that you might have missed, but also rewatch on something that you might want to just go over or pass along to someone else. So either way, that is definitely going to be headed your way. In addition to that, we're going to be covering a lot of questions with our panelists today as they have a lot of very valuable feedback. But we also recognize that you might have some questions that we may not have thought about asking and that you specifically want to know more about. And so feel free to use our Q&A feature. It is at the bottom of your screen. We can certainly get to those questions as best as we can. And I know this fantastic panel would love to answer your questions as well. And then lastly, if there is anything at all that we do not get to, if you have specific questions about admissions, cost, tuition waivers, or scholarships, feel free to give us a call. You can speak with an advisor like myself. And there is our phone number at the bottom, as well as our email, our web address, if you'd like to submit a chat, that we have multiple options to be able to speak with us. With that being said, I want to introduce you to our group of panelists that we have joining us today. I have Leslie, Brianna, and Elliot here this evening. Both Leslie and Elliot are alumni of the program, and Brianna is actually a current student. So they have a lot of perspectives to be able to share with us today. But I want to give each of them the opportunity to just introduce themselves. Leslie, we'll start with you and then move forward with Brianna and Elliot. Do you mind just taking a few minutes to share, or a minute or two, just to share who you are, what you're currently doing, and what brought you to the U?
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us, and welcome to everyone that's on here. My name is Leslie Fitzpatrick. I am now the executive director of the New River United Soccer Association. I'm also a college coach with a women's college team in Toronto, Ontario. I'm from Port of Spain, Trinidad, originally in the Caribbean. I came up for undergrad at Columbia University. I graduated with a double major in economics and political science. And essentially, I just wanted to play soccer. So I had to do the undergrad thing first. And then I was free to play. I played 10 years professionally and with my national soccer team that qualified for the 2006 World Cup in Germany. After a 10-year career, I retired and I started getting into coaching, but I didn't really want to be pigeonholed as a coach. And so I looked at opportunities for, educational advancement, career advancement. And that's one of the things that led me to the U to take the master's program in sport administration. And so that way, I ended up becoming general manager at first of a youth soccer club, and then graduated into the executive director role that I now hold. And I hold a lot of administrative positions and board positions within the soccer sphere, especially on the youth realm. And then I also do some scouting for the professional leagues, the MLS, and across in Europe, and as well as college recruitment and stuff like that. So that's a Cliff Notes version of who I am.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elliot Safdie, and I'm currently employed with American Airlines in Miami, Florida. As a technical instructor, I teach mostly Boeing courses like the 787, which is the most advanced commercial airline in the world. My sports background goes back to when I was a younger person, amateur sports, boxing, Krav Maga, Taekwondo, a lot of martial arts and things like that. And I spent about over 30 years with the U.S. military. I was a former commander, and I consider all of my troops to be athletes for the fact that we pushed them to do lots of things with their bodies that we normally don't ask others to do. So that also helped. I was looking to open up a boxing gym, and then the COVID hit. So fortunately, I did not cross that line and save my money. So that's something that I'm looking forward to doing again, just taking a break from that. I'm also working on a project for the see if there's an interest at the NCAA level for student athletes to be able to self-disclose of any rule violations, so that the NCAA and schools can learn from that experience, perhaps rewrite rules, do some coaching and counseling instead of dismissing people from the team so quickly. So that's something I've been working on for a couple of years. And I currently reside in the Fort Lauderdale area. I am a graduate of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Broward Community College, Community College of the Air Force, and University of Miami with the sports administrative degree that I got a few years back. And it's not my first time on this panel. I've done this alumni panel before. I like networking with folks. I enjoy volunteering at any level. Speaking of volunteering, I volunteered with fundraising events where I either participated as a very active member or actually as the leader of the group. And I've always put a sports twist to it. For example, at Robins Air Force Base, I was in charge of Hispanic Heritage Month some years back, and we put it into a sports theme. So we had one of the coaches from the Atlanta Braves, who also coaches at the minor league level for the Braves organization, as our guest speaker. I work with the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. We had the Baseball Classic in Fort Lauderdale, which was retired major leaguers playing a baseball game where the Yankees and the Orioles used to have a spring training camp. That facility is now closed, and it's now our football arena for our Inter Miami team.
Wow.
So that's my background, and I'm just looking forward to taking your questions and helping out.
That's fantastic. Well, again, thank you for being here. And also thank you so much for your service to our country.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna King. I am a staff accountant for the Houston Texans. I live in Houston right now. I was actually born and raised here. I'm not a Texans fan, but I am a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh.
But I went to undergrad at Texas State University. It's in San Marcos, Texas. And my history with sports is I've always loved sports. Since I was a child, I have literally always loved football. I actually played Little League football until like out of nowhere, all the guys just started getting really big. So then we had to stop there. I started cheering. I cheered all 4 years throughout college. And then once I graduated, I was a little confused because I know I wanted to work in sports, but it wasn't as easy for me. So I had to take a little step back, and that's when I decided to join the U. And I ended up getting a job with the Texans, and now I work in team development as well. So I am an accountant, and I also work with team development. So that's been pretty fun and interesting. And that's just anything about me, nothing special.
Nothing special. I beg to differ. Just hearing everything that you guys have shared about what you're doing currently in the past, it has me tired just thinking about it. You guys are busy bees. So again, appreciate each of you taking the time out of your busy schedules to speak with us and just kind of answer some of the questions that our prospects have. So with that, I want to dig into our first topic, and that is just in regards to online education in general. I don't think anyone is shocked by the fact that there are a ton of online programs out there. So my question for each of you is, what specifically was it about our program here at the U that stood out to you and kind of drew you to joining our program? And feel free for anyone to jump in on these questions. It does not have to be in a row.
So sorry guys, but I think what really pointed me towards the U was the fact that I was looking at a lot of other sports administration programs and sports management programs, and a lot of them didn't. It was like a variety of classes. Of course, you have your sports marketing classes, and you a lot of them had applied sciences, and I didn't really want to do that aspect of sports administration. I wanted to be definitely more front office, behind the scenes. So I really like the fact that, you know, we have a finance class that I took that like a while ago, but we had our finance class, and then we have our legal aspects class, and also the organizational management. I really did enjoy those classes, and some programs just don't have those from what I was looking at. So that's what really like kind of stood out to me the most. And it was between like UT and University of Miami, and I definitely chose Miami because
And we're glad that you
had like other
did.
yes, they had other kinesiology like classes, but it was like I had to like have like some kind of practical course where I had to like be not a trainer, but it was more hands-on, and I did not want to do that at all.
Sure.
I guess I'll jump in. For me, you know, University of Miami had always been on my radar, even when I was a kid. I guess growing up in the Caribbean and a lot of family in Florida, you always heard about the U, and you know, the sports programs spoke for themselves. So from undergrad, I had a desire to go to the University of Miami, but unfortunately they didn't have a men's soccer program. And so when I was getting recruited by all these higher level schools, it just wasn't meant to be at that time. And so strangely enough, I got approached by, you know, one of the people associated with the program, asking me if I had an interest in doing it. They'd followed my background, and, you know, they said they thought I'd be a perfect candidate. And then, you know, when you couple the weather, you know, because I got down to campus a few times, and obviously a school with the pedigree of the University of Miami, especially the sport network part of it. You know, I think network is so essential in terms of what we do in our field. So you look at the alums, you look at the, you know, the professors that were associated with the program. I grew to know 2 or 3 of them personally, and still have relationships with them. It was almost a no-brainer for me. And then the accreditation of the school is big, right? You know, you go to a school that actually, you see all these online degrees, and half of these schools I've never even heard about in my life. So, you know, when you hear about the University of Miami, that you know, just the name alone holds a lot of weight in the landscape of US tertiary educational systems. And so it was an easy choice for me.
Yeah, I'll add, when I was doing my research of schools, there were a couple in the area that had a sports management program, but I found that the courses that were offered appealed to me more. Even though your degree, well, first of all, your degree will be a Master's of Science in Education. Kind of nice, because that kind of gives you a variety of fields you can apply to. You can apply to teaching, counseling, coaching, and sports as well, of course. The courses that are offered, you can use with your personal business, you can use in areas outside of sports as well. For example, we have a finance class, the economics class, the law class, things of that nature. So it's really more like an MBA with a sports twist, if you will. So a lot of the business classes you take will always apply to sports, but they are business classes. The economics, the finance class will have sports in it. The marketing class will have a sports theme to it. The legal class will always have the legal arguments one way or the other when it comes to matters that affect sports. So I like the fact that it's a Master's of Science in Education. I like the fact that I'm having the same types of classes that you would have in a Master's of Business Administration. And the online program, for me, it was something that I had been out of school for many years. It was the first time taking an online course. I really did not know what to expect. It took me a few weeks to acclimate, and then it finally sunk in, and I got it. So I think anybody will be able to get through it. If I got through it, everybody can get through it.
Excellent feedback all around. Appreciate each of those answers. Brianna, one thing I wanted to kind of go back on is the fact that, and Elliot, you had touched on as well, is just how broad the courses are. And for those who might not be aware, you can go online and look at the full list of courses, and of course, contact an enrollment advisor, and we can certainly send those over to you as well. But our faculty wanted to make sure that the courses were broad so that you're equipped to cover pretty much any area of the sports industry that you needed, whether it's marketing, dealing with finances, going into the legal side of things. We want to make sure that you're versatile, as an employee. And I do think that that is something that helps our program stand out to others. But also something that Leslie pointed out was the relationship with our faculty. And it's not just something that stops when you finish the program. Do you mind diving, or each of you or either of you diving into kind of what it's like working with our faculty? For our students, you are working with the same faculty who teach our on-campus students, and like Leslie mentioned, networking is huge. So what does that look like, the interactions with your faculty as a UOnline student?
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
I feel like I'm actually on campus. The way we communicate with our professors, Dr. D's, love her. She's awesome. And I speak with her all the time. Dr. Martin, Taiwan Martin, he's amazing. I speak with them all the time. And a lot of my classmates, since I've been with them pretty much our entire, from the start of our program, and now I'll be graduating in August. So we communicate very well with them. And actually I plan on meeting Professor D's in May when I come out there for vacation. So that should be fun. But I feel like there's pretty much no difference between online and being on campus, really. So don't let people get into your head about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll piggyback on that, and it's funny because the names are similar in terms of the ones that have the impact, right? Dr. D's for sure, Taiwan Martin, Alicia Jessup, but she's not there anymore. I don't think she moved out west. Warren Wisenant, I mean, they roll off your tongue because they were so impactful. They made stuff engaging. They were accessible. And then I had the opportunity to come down on campus 2 or 3 times and meet them in person, and that really helped me get that personal type of connection and feel with them. So anytime I get down into the area, they're one of the first calls. I've connected with Dr. Martin a couple of times socially when I've been down there. I haven't talked to Dr. D's in a couple of years, but certainly when I get down again, I'm probably going to try to get down there in the next few weeks. I'll try to reach out to them. But I mean, it's just like Brianna's saying, they don't make you feel like you're any different to somebody who's on campus. They give you the same type of attention. You're always able to talk to them, to relate to them, go through stuff that you're dealing with, especially, in this degree. A lot of us are actually either working at the same time or doing other things. And so you have real life experiences that you're going through that they make it relatable in their coursework, and then using them as a resource to be like, hey, well, how would you handle this if you were in this situation? And again, because of the wide array of courses that you do, you almost have a resource for anything that you could be going through in your professional life. If it was, I mean, with my job as an executive director, there's a legal component to it, there's the marketing, there's the leadership, there's, how do you lead a team, different types of leadership styles, all of that. So having these valuable resources almost at, click of a computer, or, and some of them would give you their phone numbers and you could text them. or call them. Certainly, it was amazing for me.
Yeah, I'll just jump in at this time. What I found was that the professors were available. They would have dedicated office hours that were good hours where you could make contact with them, whether it was via email or whatever platform they decided. Each one has perhaps a different platform they want you to use. So they had dedicated office hours, and then you could always shoot them an email if for some reason you couldn't get through, you couldn't get a hold of them, and they'd usually get back with you. So they were very accessible while you're doing the online program. So if anybody's out there and they're concerned that they might not have a face-to-face relationship with a professor, with today's technology, it's not a problem. There were a couple of video events that we did as well with some peers of mine. When we did a student project, we actually did a video teleconference with our professor, Dr. Weisenet, and that went real well. And yeah, you definitely develop personal relationships with them as well. Being a South Florida guy and a Canes fan, I would run into them at the football games on occasion, or inside the stadium. There's also the Global Sports and Legal Conference that the university puts on every year. I did my best to attend as many as possible. There's one this April 7th and 8th, which is available in person at the school or virtual. And it's a great networking opportunity where you get to see your professors, you get to see people in the industry. Lots of very important people in the sports industry and the legal industry are present at the conference, and it's a great networking opportunity. So if anybody has an opportunity to get down to South Florida and attend the conference April 7th and 8th, I highly recommend it. So overall, I'm very satisfied with the choice I made, University of Miami.
Well, we're certainly glad to hear that, and again, appreciate each of your feedbacks. And one thing I'd like to add, if I may, is that the only reason that our faculty have the opportunity to be so intentional with our students is because we keep our classes small. We want to make sure that you are known as an individual. If you have questions, you can easily get them answered. You're not just a number to our faculty or a check mark for attending. If you don't show up to class, they notice, and oftentimes they will call you out too. And so I love that about the program. It's structured flexibility. And so kind of tagging into that, the majority of the students in our programs are working full time. They have families, they have very busy schedules. So what does it look like as far as the curriculum goes? How is the courses structured? Do you have to be logged in at a certain time? What does that look like?
Do you want to start that one, Elliot? Or
Thank you. Okay, I'll jump in. What I can say about the weekly schedule is that it's very predictable. So there should be no surprises. Usually on Tuesdays, there are assignments that are due, and sometimes there's reading assignments, and then you have to participate in a chatting session with your peers, the other students. And then sometimes it's a short paper due on Tuesday or Thursday. And you know that Saturdays is usually a quiz. And on Saturday at the end of the course is usually a final exam. So you pretty much know that you have assignments that are due every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday. So you can plan your personal life, your work schedule around it. And you know, you can be anywhere in the world. You could be on any shift. As long as you know that your assignments are due on those days at a particular time, you just have to work your schedule accordingly. So there really are no surprises. As long as you stay focused and don't fall behind, you'll be fine. And after the second and third week and fourth week, you'll see is what I call a battle rhythm. It's the same routine: Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then you're going to be done with the first class. You're going to get your grade. You're going to be, oh, wow, that's done. And you move right into the next class after maybe a week or two break. And it's the same thing: Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So it's very regimented, very structured, and very easy to follow.
Yeah, I think I'll add to that. You know, I think a lot of the people again that end up in this program, there are a lot of working professionals. Well, in my class, there were a lot of working professionals. And as much as it's regimented in terms of the dates, the professors also understand that, and they really work with you to try to meet those deadlines, right? So they know, okay, if there is something extenuating, they're not going to penalize you very harshly for it or whatever, as long as they see that you're trying to really work to get stuff done on time. They're very understanding of that. They're supportive of that. And they try to strike a proper work life, home life, family life balance with you, so they don't try to detract from that. But to Elliot's point, it's structured in a way that really helps you to work on your time management skills. And because the coursework is set out like beforehand, what you have due that week. For me in particular, I know that I used to overload at the start of the week, because on the weekends I had with my job, I'm on the field a lot, nights and weekends. I have training sessions, I have tournaments, I might be traveling or whatever it is. So because I knew what the curriculum was like, and I knew when things would be due, I would try to structure heavy loading most of my work at the start of the week and at night. I would get it done after my sessions were done. I don't sleep much, so it kind of worked out that way. But and that was something for my undergrad as well. Having structure really helped me. So I know when I had to work, I know when I had to go to school, I know when I had practices, and then I knew when I could have free time. But I think a lot of people that don't have that structure, that's where you end up lagging behind, because you kind of procrastinate and you take things for granted, and then all of a sudden it catches up with you. So the way that they structured with that Tuesday something due, Thursday something due, Saturday, you knew that you had those specific deadlines to get things done. What the challenge might be sometimes for some people is in group projects, because other people have different timelines, right? So you have to really communicate with your peers anytime a group project is due, to kind of work out what works well for you, what works well for somebody else, and then you kind of tie it in. So I knew what my schedule looked like. So I took a lot of leadership roles in groups. Like I knew, all right, I want to get this done or whatever it is. And then I would make sure they could get it done because I don't know, I wasn't like this in undergrad, but I was very like prideful of my grades with this program. I wanted to have a 4.0 all the time. So I guess that's a maturity part of it. And so, I try to make sure that if I was in a group, I wouldn't push people outside of their comfort zone, but I tried early on to know what their timeline looks like for the week, so that we could make sure that we got things done in time.
Excellent advice.
That's so true. Everything you said was facts. Everything they both said was so true. It's different for me. I don't have a family or whatever. So like I'm just young, I want to have a social life, but the assignments, because I do work full time, they hit me just out of nowhere. Like, or in my head, they're out of nowhere at first. The first couple of classes, I was like, everything's due Tuesday, Thursday. But you get a routine of it. Like, it's all about discipline for sure with this program. And, if you speak with your professors, they are very understanding, very, very, very understanding to me personally. Because it was like, just this past year was crazy for me. So like during football season is usually the kind of worst timing for me. And that's like when I had probably two of my hardest classes. But they were very understanding. I really do love this program. Like they pretty much covered everything for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think something that each of you had said is that discipline and time management aspect. Doesn't discipline and athletics kind of go hand in hand too? So surely with all of our students, not everyone is an athlete, obviously, but almost everyone obviously has that passion for athletics. So there is that kind of discipline mindset, but definitely to reiterate what each of you said, once you get started, you'll figure out what routine works for you. And our faculty, again, they are truly will bend over backwards to help you with what you need, help you get started. Everyone's in the same boat at first, trying to figure out what's going to work for them personally, and that's where our faculty really step in. Before we move into our next question, I do want to reiterate to those who might have joined later that we do have a fantastic Q&A option at the bottom of your screen. So if there is a question that you want to ask each of these individuals, feel free to utilize that option and we can certainly get those questions answered. But moving forward, I do want to shift more towards, I guess, Elliot and Leslie, when it comes to an alumni and our vast alumni network. I know, Elliot, you had mentioned our sports industry conference that we host every year, and I personally love that is an opportunity. We have yet to find another university that offers something like that to students. So would each of you mind just sharing a little bit what it's like, being able to connect with the alumni network, whether it be directly through career services or just through the program in general?
Sure. I'll jump in. So I'm fortunate that I live near the school, so I've networked with actually people that are going to the school at the undergrad and graduate level. I also have networked with folks that are part of the alumni program at Broward County Games. While I was in the military, prior to that, I actually participated with the Atlanta Games. So in a lot of the large cities, there's alumni groups from all different majors, grads and former students that have attended University of Miami. So you will come across alumni wherever you live. They're out there. I know it's a small school, but we are out there. And I've also networked with some folks that I've actually been on panels before that attended the school that have reached out to me that are working. For example, one works for the Miami Dolphins in the front office. Another one works for New York Yankees. And a lot of my peers that I went to school with are working in the industry, and I still stay in contact with some of them. So it's a great alumni group out there. It's up to you how hard you want to network. If you're looking for a job, networking is probably the most important thing you'll do. And it starts with your peers in school, and then it'll start expanding. It'll start growing. So reach out to the alumni groups. They're there to help.
Yeah, I mean, for me coming from it's small in terms of the size of classes and stuff, which is an advantage. Same with Columbia, but it's not lost on me what the networking value is, right? When you go to a school like that and you're in New York City and everybody wants to get into finance, they just rely on each other, and it's like this small little bubble of people, and I didn't want that. I kind of went away from that into the sports world, but then you start leaning and you start seeing, like a buddy that works at ESPN and one that works at the NFL and one that, and you start getting into that type of network. And again, I would lean and I would tell you, lean on the professors a lot, like they will introduce you to people. And the conference that Elliot's talking about, I had the privilege to attend one of the first ones as well. And, I met so many people, guys in NASCAR and, industries that you never would even think like, hey, that doesn't really apply to the soccer field. But, when you start getting at that executive level, executives are alike no matter what. And you see people who were like professional, like the guy who runs the MLS alumni group and all that for soccer was an ex-NFL guy. So he didn't have any background in soccer, but he's just got the relationship with sport and stuff. And so you start realizing the value of networking. And then the sports network, like I've mentioned before, is second to none. Like you talk about it, people have approached me because they've just seen it on my like handle, or they've seen it on, like on my resume, and they're like, oh, you're a alum. Like I went there too. Or, I know this guy who was a alum and he was great in our office. And so you already get your foot into the door just by having something aligned with the university. And especially if you're in South Florida or in certain fields like the NFL, where you have so many alums from getting into the league, or basketball, anything like that, you certainly need to leverage that network. I've been kind of blessed in the soccer fraternity because I played, and then I also worked there and I coached. So I had a built-in network for soccer. But even one of my classmates, he graduated, and his big thing, he wanted to go work in the equipment industry with the MLS, and now he's with the Nashville team. And so he always call me, hey, you need tickets? You're coming down, like, so like just simple things like that beyond even getting jobs and stuff, but always having a network of people who are like, hey, there's an event, there's a Super Bowl. I could maybe get you in if like having that is unbelievable. So to echo what Elliot says, it's going to be probably networking is probably going to be one of the most important aspects of your professional life once you get the degree and you start moving into that.
Absolutely. And I know that Dr. Dees herself, she has shared that it is not uncommon also for our faculty to help you network and call up an employer on your behalf, even while you're still enrolled in the program. And so just like Elliot said, when you put in the effort, you put your foot out there, try to shake a hand, go to all those events that you can, it does make a difference. And so when you take that step, we're going to be there to help you walk through that process together. And Brianna, I want to shift the attention towards you since you are currently in the program. I'm sure in your classes, there are students from all different backgrounds all over the country. How has that been helping you network even while you're currently in the program?
It has been really awesome. A lot of my classmates, it's about, I think maybe 10, 11 of us in our that started the program with us, and we're still hanging in there. But it's been just a crazy experience because we have our different group projects, and for instance, we just had a group project and it's for sponsorship marketing. And he lives in Florida, I live here. So like he's like an hour ahead and he works for the Heat. So like when we were working with each other in a previous class during football season, he was really understanding with my schedule. So we're just like, okay, well, how are we gonna work this out? And now it's his basketball season. I'm out of season. So I have to work with his schedule more. It just teaches you a lot about different people in their lives. We have a rainbow of people in my class right now, so that's been really fun, getting to learn different people, and now I feel like they're my friends, so I really can't wait to meet them for graduation. But other than that, like, you just have to know, like, if you click with someone in the class, then and you think that's your person, y'all can stick with each other and ride your wave out through the rest until graduation. That's kind of what I've done. I've met so many amazing people, learned so much from them. And I actually ended up connecting one of my old partner that I was just speaking about. I connected with him with the Bucks. So I know somebody that works at HR there. So
yes.
I was like, yeah, my friend, he works at HR. He was like, what? Like, he was so excited when I told him like about this position. And now, I don't know what happened with that. Well, actually, I do know what happened, but they're pretty cool now. So I was just like, it's fun getting to like see people succeed and actually knowing, like, to be that connection, that liaison between the two. That has been amazing.
Yeah, that's excellent feedback. And, to your point, I will say online education, I think we can all agree, has this negative stigma of you show up, you submit your assignments, you leave, and you're done. And there's no face-to-face, there's no conversations,
Mhm.
you're just kind of on your own little island. And unfortunately, that is very well true for a lot of programs, but not with ours. You have to work very hard to be on your own island here, just
Yes.
because the level of intentionality that both our faculty and your peers will extend in the program. And so know that if you were to enroll with our program, you're absolutely going to be a part of a community and almost like a family atmosphere. And the students that you're with, even if you have not met them face to face, come graduation, they will absolutely feel like your family members.
Definitely.
Sure. Yes, well, it'll be here soon. And I know that we are slowly coming towards the end of our program, and I know we've had a lot of really great questions come in. Also, I do want to mention that our Sydney from marketing was very gracious to include the link for that sports industry conference. So after this session, if it's something you want to go take a look at and just see what the schedule has looked like in the past or coming up, feel free to do so. And you can also contact an enrollment advisor to do that as well. well. We've also had questions regarding esports. Elliot, appreciate you answering that as well. The course structure, Brianna and Leslie, or excuse me, Elliot, it is structured to be one course at a time, and that is for your benefit. Our faculty, they know that you have a lot on your plate. Sometimes students are allowed to double up on courses, but I will be very honest with you. It is not recommended just because of the course rigor, and we want to make sure that it is very intentional on what's being discussed in the program so that you can be successful while juggling everything else going on in life. Again, feel free to utilize, it looks like we're using the chat or the Q&A, either is totally fine. But yeah, as we're moving forward, I know a lot of the students are looking to potentially apply for our programs. Is there any advice that you would give to these students as to what to specifically look for in a program?
I'll jump in.
Sure.
Okay, so University of Miami is a serious school. So there's other schools out there. You have choices. But just remember, when you attend any program in the University of Miami, you're attending a top 50 university. So it is very prestigious. So when you go out there and you start comparing one school to another, go with reputation, go with the seriousness of the degree, how respected that degree is in the market, and also know that this program has been going on for some years now, and it's very structured, very organized, very predictable, easy to work with. So these are some of the questions you might want to ask some of the other programs: how long they've been doing it, how structured are they, and then just look at the reputation of those schools. Are they a top 50 university? Are they a top 100 or a top 200? The fact that you're interested in a school is great. I would highly recommend University of Miami if you can get into it, opposed to some of the other choices you may have.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you got to consider as well, and this was a huge selling point for me, is that your degree is not looked at any differently as somebody that attends in person. So you attend the graduation with all the kids that are, or the students that were in person. Your diploma is the same exact diploma as they have. So there's nothing that says that you're online or you're not. You know, I think that's massive, because ultimately, like you said, they in the past, there would have been a stigma attached to maybe being online as opposed to in person. But I think COVID's actually helped that, because online has become the platform for everything, you know? So now, you know, we have soccer training sessions online, whereas in the past, you're like, yeah, you had to be there with the kid and like all of that. So I think that, you know, any stigmas that were attached to what a Zoom is, or, you know, online platform is certainly kind of going out the window. And so in my time, having that luxury of not having a differentiator was something that was important to me. I think with some of these online programs, they're just seen as online programs, right? And they're seen as, you know, something where if there is somebody in the marketplace who still looks at that as well, you didn't go to school there, you know, they don't know that. And I think a big part of that is, to Liz's point, we have the same faculty, you know, that are giving you the instruction. It's not like you're in some satellite school or some, you know, other person is teaching you. The same person who's teaching you online is the person who's teaching the in-person, you know, and getting to know these professors and stuff. You realize that the method of delivery is just as intricate. It's just as focused as anything that you would get in class. And I remember joking with them sometimes, and they're like, "Oh my, it's so much easier to have the online students than it is the in-person, because those are the ones who are not coming to classes, and they're not, you know, they're not doing. There's way more challenges with the in-person for them, and you know, the online, you're focused, you have the timelines, you have the structure." So I would say, you know, when you look at Miami and you look at some of the other programs that offer online, like look at those things, ask yourself those questions. You know, is it going to be the same faculty delivering it? Is it going to be, you know, that you're not getting the same experience? This, you get the exact same experience, just in a remote location. And then take advantage of the opportunities to go onto campus. Like I talk to them and they'll be like, yeah, if you're down here, come into a class, then you get to see the difference. Like, is it really a difference? And then you start realizing there's no difference at all. It's just that you're doing it with a distance learning component, which fits into most of our professional lives.
Excellent advice. Well, I know that we are coming to the end of our session. So again, I just want to say thank you again for each of you taking the time out of your days to speak with our students. You brought so much to the table for these students to be considering as they're considering the U and other programs or universities. And obviously, we would love for you to be a part of our program. Join Brianna in some of her classes now that she's in. Hopefully, she says, "No, I'm ready to graduate."
Ready to go.
I don't blame you. Well, students, with that being said, we are at the end of our session, but we definitely want to encourage you to start the application process if you have not already done so. We currently have our next cohort that we are accepting applications for starting May 9th, which is right around the corner. So if that is something that you're interested in pursuing, be sure to connect with an enrollment advisor tomorrow. You do not want to wait. You want to go ahead and get started. It is free to apply, so there's no fees. Nothing's going to stand in your way. But the early admissions deadline is coming up on March 14th. And because our classes are so small, spots are limited. And so you want to apply early to ensure you don't have to worry about any fear of being waitlisted. In addition to the application being free, we also don't want anything to stand in the way of you officially becoming a hurricane. And so we are going to waive your $300 tuition deposit. So if you are admitted, you want to accept your offer, again, that's one less thing you're going to have to worry about. So we'll take care of that for you. Again, there's our deadline to apply. If there's a question that we did not get to regarding applications, I know that this session was mostly focused on the content of the program, what to expect as a student. So if you have more admissions related questions, you can give us a call, speak with us via chat, email, whatever's easiest for your schedule. But we would love for you to apply, love for you to be a part of our Canes family. Again, Elliot, Brianna, Leslie, thank you all so much for your feedback. Thank you for being here. Go Canes, and I hope you all have a great rest of your night. That's right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.